Hi everyone. I am Priya from It's OKR, and if you're new today, It's OKR is a content platform for South Asian immigrants, and we aim to educate, entertain, and empower them. Today we have Coach Aneri with us. She actually helps immigrants land jobs. So we are going to use this time to talk about the job market, job strategies, resumes, everything that you must know if you are looking for a job or if you're just trying to be prepared for anything that you have not foreseen. So without wasting any time, we will get straight to it. But I work at Google in marketing and just the tech industry. You must have seen all the news that's happening around layoffs. It's not easy for people who are in the industry, and it's definitely someone, either your friend or someone definitely is getting impacted, and you want to make sure that you feel prepared, especially if you are on H1B. You only have 60 days to find a job. We do have some resources around the legalities of what you must know that I will link later that you can check out. But today, let's focus on the trends that we are seeing in the job market. So hi, Aneri. We'll get started with the first question that I have. I've been following you for a while now, and I know that even just recently you've been able to help a lot of job seekers crack jobs in the last couple of weeks. So I'm curious to hear from you. What are those trends that you are seeing in the current situation? And who are those industries that are actually hiring and for what kind of roles?
Yes, and before we dive into what industries are hiring and all the questions, I just want to set a foundation. It is bad, and every day we wake up to all this layoff announcement and hiring freeze. But I want to assure people that there are jobs. If you just search software engineer on LinkedIn, you will see, I think last time I checked, 68,000 jobs show up. Now, if you start filtering it by your preferences and visa requirements and all those things, we are looking at least 1,000 jobs out there, and one can be yours. एक तो हमारी हो ही सकती है, right? So I want to give people hope to begin with, that it's bad, but you need to keep pushing yourself. Job is not going to come to us. And before we dive, yes, and before we dive into trend, few things I want to explain people. There are many reasons why layoffs happen, why companies start eliminating staff from their teams, but few trends that, like some trends that I have noticed is, during COVID there were many lifestyle changes that we all experienced. Some companies grew tremendously, like Zoom and Slack and Amazon and Peloton. Like, so many companies experienced tremendous growth that they were not prepared for, and then they started hiring many people on their teams. And now that market is going downhill, interest rates are hiking, and so many external factors that we are experiencing that are contributing to recession. Now people's buying power is changing, so people are going to be more mindful in spending money and where their money is going, and therefore companies are now looking like restructuring everything and trying to figure out how can we better prepare for this unusual situation. So cannot companies one cannot control how buyers are going to react to their products. So now they are trying to eliminate expenses, operational overhead. And the easiest way is to eliminate staff and then asking one person do two jobs or all those things. So they cannot definitely get rid of their buildings and their technology, machines and all those things. So easiest way to handle your operational cost is to let people go. And that's why we are seeing this changes and how people are losing jobs. But again, I want to remind people that if Amazon let 13,000 or 10,000 people go, that's 3% of their workforce. So 97% still, as of today, have jobs. So it's up to us how we see this situation. Is it glass half full, half empty? And we don't have a choice but to just keep going and keep figuring out how can we creatively handle this situation.
No, that is definitely a really great thought and the spirit that people need in this current situation. And just adding to your point of just the trends that you even mentioned, being in tech, I can also say that while we were in the COVID era, everyone spent all of their time on digital. So if you looked at the earnings report for the last 2 years, everything was growth, 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 and that's how the hiring was. Unfortunately, because of everything that's happening in the economy, the growth is not sustainable anymore. The bets that we thought would take off are not taking off. So you have to figure out how to reduce your operating costs. To reduce your operating costs, the easiest way is reduction of workforce. However, I can do a whole debate and session on why the smartest people in the world cannot come up with a different way to handle this outside of dispensing people. But that is a conversation for a separate day. But to Aneri's point, I still actively post on LinkedIn like jobs that are open. So there are companies that are hiring. So you should not lose hope. And with that, we are keeping this discussion. We don't want this discussion to make you feel so heavy and so lost that there is no hope. The idea after you leave this discussion is you will have some handy tips on what you can do. You will know what the job market is looking like and you will know what you are getting into. It's not as rosy as it was, but it's not as bad as people think as it is, because social media can kind of maximize things at a point, which is actually not that bad. There are some industries that are doing really well. And if we focus on that, I think you have a really good shot.
Yes, yes. And we have survived multiple months like this, like COVID. When COVID hit the first wave, so many people lost job. Back in 2010, when housing market crashed, so many people lost job. But I want to assure people that there is a comeback and there is a way to keep going. And coming back to your question, like what industries are still hiring, or we say recession proof right now. And with my active clients, all the interviews that we have been getting in last 2-3 weeks, I have summarized like healthcare. Definitely I haven't seen major shift in healthcare hiring. Energy is something every household needs, so I have seen offers coming in from energy sector. Senior care, all these old age homes or elderly care facilities, they are not impacted by recession because there is think about supply versus demand. So there is a demand, and that's why these industry is also hiring. I have seen pharma industry doing pretty well as of now in terms of hiring, and also immigration lawyers and career coaches right now, they don't count as industry, but I have seen they are coming forward and helping people too. So these are industries that as of now going strong and not majorly impacted by the current situation.
And Aneri, just to bring everything to life, it would be great if you're able to share how many offers you were able to close in the last week or so and give us a couple of company names and roles. I think that just helps bring it to life a little more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So last week, I'm keeping track, especially in the current market, to give people hope. And last week we had interviews in 26 companies. I don't remember all the names, but some of them include tech companies. So while Amazon, Microsoft, they are on hiring freeze unofficially or officially, there are smaller companies. I have seen startups picking up. Some of 6 startups that I can think of, and you can Google, they have recently received major funding. And now that companies have funding, they are going to go out and expand their teams. So I have seen trend shifting. Some of major offers. So we got 6 offers last week alone, and I'm seeing companies are still hiring new grad roles. By the way, Eastern and Young, I'm seeing big fours. So big fours are still, most of them are going strong. Feeling management consulting roles, feeling program manager roles, product manager roles, and then so big four, some startups, some non-famous companies that you wouldn't see on Fortune 500 list, but they are there. CVS is hiring crazy right now, especially in data analytics roles. So these are some that I remember. There are many small scale companies that I have seen as well last week. CGI, so consulting company. TCS is still out in the market looking for people that they can place on the projects that are already approved and accounts that they have. So I'm seeing CGI and TCS are still looking for people. This week, Monday and Tuesday, today is the second day of the week. I just posted before going live with you. I just posted a list. We are interviewing at least 6 places that I can think of right now. Some of them are in final round. So some major roles that I am seeing that are not right away impacted are, of course, the management consulting, data analysts. I'm seeing really good response in business analysis. I'm getting finance is also still hiring, mainly accounting and financial analyst. So these are some that I can think of. And one unusual role that I have seen is executive assistant. Last week I had a client. She interviewed every single day in a week, Monday to Friday, with all Fortune 500 companies. These leaders will need support on their team, and executive assistant is something that so many companies are coming out with to support their executives. So these are some roles in some companies.
That's awesome. So just to like summarize, all of the big four management consulting companies are hiring, which you should not be surprised, because in the current situation, most companies would hire a management consulting company to kind of audit their book and see how they can get efficiencies. Data analyst, business analyst, finance, program management, EA. So there are definitely a lot of roles. Like she's mentioned in the beginning, if you are in tech, there are at least 68,000 software engineering roles that are open on LinkedIn. So just don't lose hope, do that search. You will be able to find something and network actively. If that is the one thought I want to close that out with, especially for job market trends. The next question, Aneri, that is a lot. I'm getting this question a lot and just curious to hear your POV. Is it a good time to switch jobs or start a new job? Because I think a lot of people are feeling very apprehensive about like changing roles or starting in a new company. So what are you seeing? Are you having clients who are first-time job seekers, or are you having clients who are looking to switch as well?
Yes, so most of my clients are looking for internship or full-time job after graduating or starting their career after a break. I would say 20% of my clients right now are looking to elevate their like career. So it's mix of all. One thing I would like to tell is everything boils down to your risk appetite. What is your visa status? Are you the primary earner in your family? Are you the person who has insurance of entire family? So you have to think about all this, because there is a lag between you putting your 2 weeks notice versus you joining the company, and anything can happen during those 2 weeks, and then you are not here, you are not there. So I don't want to like say it out loud what you exactly need to do. It all like just make sure that you are seeing a big picture before making that move. Internal promotions, of course, go for it. Even new jobs, looking, it doesn't hurt to look for new jobs, but when you are sitting on an offer, that's when you can make a decision whether now is a great time to go forward with it or not.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point that you bring about around risk appetite, and I talk about that a lot. And for everyone who's listening, personally, like as I told you, like a lot is changing in big tech. I'll talk about Google as well. There are definitely roles that open up, which are a backfill role, or that is someone that is going out and need coverage and stuff like that. Those roles are always open. If you are absolutely looking to switch roles, to Aneri's point, keep something in mind as to how much of an impact does this team have? Is this a huge cost center for the company? Those are the kind of questions to ask yourself in case they're looking to generate efficiencies. What is the impact this department is having? Because the more you read about a lot of these layoffs, you will see bets that haven't taken off or can be pushed by another year or so are the ones that are getting paused. So if you're looking to go into like a super innovation heavy department at this time, I would say wait for 6 months before you try to make that move. However, if it's a promotion or something that is taking you closer to the impact that the company has, do not hesitate to go for it. Just do your due diligence and understand the risks that come with it.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, it is the network, the people, there are a lot of people involved in making the decisions, and layoffs are unfortunate because if an entire org gets shut down, there is nothing you can do even if you are a top performer. So also remember to not take it personally, because every role was important at some point, and now that just importance of that role has gotten pushed by a year or so. So never take this personally. But to close out this question, Aneri, thank you for sharing about risk appetite and what you are seeing in terms of starting a job. My next question, which you are an expert on, is tips to get your resume picked and how to be interview ready, because there are just so many of these tech people who are now in the mix, which is kind of making the situation extremely competitive. So I'm curious to hear any tips that can be actionable for people who are listening to this.
Yes, yes. And before we dive into resume tips, I want to just give out few general tips for people. So I have been laid off 3 years ago when I was 7 months pregnant, and I live in a very small town where there are only two big companies to work for. And at that time, pre-COVID, there were like remote jobs were not this common, right? So as Priya said, first of all, if you are impacted by these layoffs, stop, do not take it personally. That's number one. Why me? First thing came to my mind when I went through layoff is why me and not the other person on my team. You know, we were doing exact same job. Why me? So it's normal to feel shocked or be in disbelief or denial, but one thing you need to stop doing is stop taking it personally. It's a business decision, and companies do not run on emotions. So one, be practical. It's a business decision. Move on. There are plenty of other companies who are looking for you. One, so take some time off to process this information. Know your numbers. How many days you have with the company? What's your severance look like? How many days you have for your visa or H1B? And one thing I want to tell people is, do not believe everything you read on internet. As Priya pointed in the beginning, there are so many conflicting information out there, especially around legal status. So please do not believe everything you read, and consult good immigration lawyer, because these are time sensitive decisions and you don't want to be caught by surprise at the end. So that's one. Know your numbers, how much saving you have, how much longer you can go without having a job. That will decide whether you are going to jump on the first job that comes to you, or you are going to take time to evaluate and find a right fit. And then coming to, everybody needs a robust roadmap. How are you going to attack this situation, and how are you going to line up multiple job offers? So step number one, evaluate your options and then come up with a plan. And everything starts with resume and LinkedIn profile. That's your branding. That's talking about you when you are not in the room. So if you have like 5 years old outdated resume, don't just add your recent experience and then start sharing it with others. A lot has changed recently in the job market. It's fierce competition, and if you want to stand out, you need to have a proper resume and LinkedIn profile. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is all star. You are utilizing all the features that LinkedIn have provided. Also start with understand. So you are a product now and you need to sell yourself. My first tip is assess the job market, see what your target audience is looking for, identify the trend, identify key things everyone is looking for, and then reverse engineer and build your resume and LinkedIn profile. You need to have those words that your future hiring manager or recruiter is looking for in a profile. You need to have those words on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile, especially LinkedIn profile, so you show up more in search results and your SEO works in your favor. So now coming back to resume, I have written on my notes numbers, metrics, and results. Please make sure you talk about numbers on your resume. Gone are the days where you just write half line bullet points and that says created website for a company. That's not enough. That's not going to get you a job. So you need to ask yourself, what did I do, how did I do, and what was the impact of my work? So do not underestimate the impact. I challenge you all that every bullet point on your resume must end with the impact or the problem you solved. So instead of saying created website for the company, you are going to say created website or spearheaded website creation initiative by using XYZ tool that resulted in bringing 1500 new visitors just in 30 days. So you are going to talk about it. Even if you are a software developer, I have been there. So many times our focus is so on the tasks that are given to us. Okay, I need to add a button here. Sometimes we don't know why we are doing it or the bigger impact. Ask your managers, dig deeper into every project you work on, and ask your manager to help you out with the big picture. why did we do this, how did it impact our customers or our internal teams or our business goals or whatever. And I want you to finish your bullet points with a strong impact. And don't say increase efficiency, it means nothing. Talk about how many hours you saved, how much sales your product drove, or how many new visitors, how many new clients. This is what we talk about. And don't hesitate to work with experts who do this for living or all day long. That can really expedite your process. You, rather than spending 4 or 5 days to streamline your resume, just outsource it and get somebody's help so that you can save those days as well.
Yeah. And guys, like I can't stress on the importance of this because I personally do a lot of referrals for you guys. You've reached out to me, and half the time I have to send it back to you saying that the resume doesn't have the impact, or check out this and this is how you do it. This Black Friday, I would actually challenge you, like when you're looking to spend that $100 on buying something, it's okay if you spend that $100 in getting your resume ATS ready and making it more relevant. No matter what your job situation is today, this is a great time to just keep your resume updated. So to Aneri's point, like, please, like when you are applying to these big companies, read the job description, tailor your resume according to it, make it actionable. Otherwise, you can be the best person for the job, but if your resume never gets picked, you're not going to get that opportunity. So you have, like, I just want to stress on that, because just over the last month or so, I have seen so many resumes. I've tried to refer so many of you, but half the time I am generally sending it back saying that we have to tailor it, otherwise it's not going to get picked. So please consider that.
Yes, and according to Harvard research, average people spend 6 seconds on your resume. So you have 6 seconds to make an impression. And if you are just telling your life story on the resume without reading the room or without understanding what hiring manager is looking for, you are not going to have those words and you are not going to grab their attention. So understand what your target audience is looking for. It's not a rocket science. If you look at 10 roles, 10 openings in 10 companies, you will know what's repeating and what are the key things that companies are looking for. You need to have those words in your resume. Otherwise, forget about ATS. Human, like Priya or somebody who is willing to refer you, is also not going to believe in your skills or whether you are a right.
Aneri, just want to ask, are there other tips, or these are the biggest ones that you generally
Yes,
see?
yes. So, resume tip, and then I want to talk about the networking tip. So, I have been seeing lots of messages, lots of announcement. Hey, I was one of the 10,000 employees, or I was impacted by the layoff. Those are great. However, one thing that is missing that you can add is one additional paragraph that talks about वो सब ठीक है that you were impacted by the reorg. But what are you bringing to the table? People are random. People are not going to open your profile and scan through what you are doing or what roles have you been into. Right, have your elevator pitch ready. Elevator pitch is nothing but one paragraph that highlights key projects that you worked on or key skills that you are bringing to the table. So anytime you are tempted to message someone, hey, are there any openings in your company? Hey, Priya, can you refer me? I challenge you to add why Priya should refer you. So give people reasons to refer you. There are so many people like Priya who want to refer you, but give them reasons to do so.
I am so glad again you brought this up, and it's crazy that we haven't even talked about this before, but you're kind of reading my mind. But guys, everyone, so many of you reach out on LinkedIn, and generally I have nothing to respond to. It's generally a hi, or it's like, I'm looking for something. Can you help me find a job at Google? Okay, I am ready to help you, but I can only help you if you look up a role at Google Careers, find that role and tell me why you are a great fit, and then send that to me with a resume. I am happy to help you out. What is very difficult for me or anyone who's willing to help out is I know nothing about you, so I cannot go and identify the right role for you because I don't know much about what you do. So it's really important, to Aneri's point, have a description. What I will actually try to do is pick out some great messages that people sent me on LinkedIn, which I actually immediately was able to take action on. They explained why they are reaching out, what they do, why this role is a great fit, and shared the link for the role and the resume. I have a
Yeah.
couple of tools. I will share a screenshot with you all so that you can get inspiration. And anytime you reach out on LinkedIn, don't start with like a short message and hope that someone will first say yes and then you are going to share your story. Just send that paragraph so that whenever someone is looking at it, they are able to quickly take action. So I'll share a couple of those for inspiration, but please make it super actionable when you're reaching out to people. And especially like one tip for networking on LinkedIn that I want to add is look up a role, find a person in the organization and message them. You have to like lose that shame in terms of why should I reach out? Why would they respond to me? Will they respond to me? What is the worst that's going to happen? They are not going to respond to you. That is it. They didn't know you before. They don't know you now. So you have not missed out on anything. But if you reach out, there is a high chance in the current situation that someone is going to respond to you, because if they have a job, they understand the pain of someone who doesn't have a job and are willing to help out. So if you just send that message, and you never know that you will get a response. Like I personally responded to so many people, and people were like, oh, I never thought that you would respond to me. But that then you realize that that is the feeling that you are thinking, but that's not the actual reality of the situation. So
And
I'm
one
sharing all of this to reiterate the fact that take that fear out and take that action. Go
Yes,
ahead.
and one thing I have heard repetitively is, Aneri, nobody's reaching out. Aneri, nobody's replying. Nobody's replying. Maybe you need to do deeper dive into what kind of message, the quality of message you are sending. It's okay, people don't reply most of the time, but give them reasons to reply to you. Here is, and one another mistake that I see people do is, because they act out of desperation and not plan properly, they are sending 50 people the same damn message, and people can sense it. And then
Yeah.
you are putting burden on other people to do the job search for you. Like how Priya mentioned, hey, can you help me find job in Google? How hard it is to go on Google and see what kind of jobs are available. So never reach out to people saying, are there any openings in your organization? Can you help me out with looking for jobs? It's, you are in a driver's seat, and it's your duty to find out what are the right roles for you. Make sure you follow Priya's format that she said. Clearly tell them why you are reaching out, why they should be even interested in talking to you, and what are the roles that you are looking referrals for. And last one in networking is always quality over quantity. No matter how bad the time is, you cannot copy the same message to 100 people and hope to get 100 referrals out of it. So always pick out who are the people that you want to reach out to, and then focus on quality over quantity. One trending or viral post that I saw on LinkedIn, and it just kills me inside, is like, somebody was giving out the tips on how to look for job in recession or after layoff. You need to network with 50 people per week and apply 50 jobs a day. It's humanly impossible to do that. Please don't act out of desperation and focus on quality.
No, I love that. That's a super helpful tip and easy to get lost when everyone is ready to offer advice. So you have to, at the end of the day, decide what you want to act on and actually act on it. But two more questions, Aneri. I know we've discussed a lot, but I've been getting both of these questions a lot, which is, are holidays a good time to look for a job? And I know you have a strong POV on that because I saw some of your posts and comments on LinkedIn about it. So I will let you share what you think, if this is a good time and your experience around
Yes.
this.
Yes, there is a most common misunderstanding in job seeker community that hiring slows down during holidays. It's not actually true. With my clients, I have seen in last 1 year that one of my clients was interviewing for Salesforce, and as holidays were approaching, like Thanksgiving, they actually canceled one last round of interview and just extended an offer. So people, I have been a hiring manager. I have been on both sides of the table, so I can tell you from my personal experience that hiring managers get budget approved to hire roles, and if they don't use it typically by end of the year, they lose it, or they have to go through the entire new round of approval, and then they may or may not get the budget. So everybody is rushed to make an offer and then go on holidays and then come back to a new employee. And with my clients, with my personal experience as a job seeker, I would say like 50% of all of my jobs were during the holiday season. So it's not true that companies don't hire. Actually, it's the opposite. Companies are in rush to make an offer and close on open jobs to start the new year and start the new quarter with talent on their team. So that's my take on that.
No, that's much needed. And I'm glad you said that, because same, I'm on the hiring panel for Google many times. And this is the time when we would actually expedite the process. We will do the interviews like very fast, considering how much time we take to like schedule multiple rounds. Like this is the time when we will try to close it out and make sure that going in January, we are having that fresh start. So yes, there are some questions that I got around. Should I be looking in December? Yes, you should absolutely be looking. If you're a job seeker, timing should not be, you should always be looking.
Yes.
That's my message. You should always be looking. You never know when the right role is going to be there for you. So always be looking, and best of luck, and hopefully you will get something. And the last question, Aneri, which is someone asked this, and I just love to get your POV on this, is are contracting jobs better than full-time jobs at this time, or any other time for that matter?
Yes, so many times contracting jobs pay more, and that's the common understanding across the industry. But again, boils down to your risk appetite and your visa status. I think in current times, current situation, you need to prioritize what are the needle movers or key deal breaker for you. So there is no straight answer, one size fits all, which one is better. So many things boil down to your priorities, you being a primary breadwinner or secondary person income, so many things. But in general, what happens, the trend that I have noticed, what happens is companies are usually mindful of full-time employees when they let them go, because the severance is involved, the few months of salary that they have to pay them, and all those onboarding costs that they bared initially. So just my personal opinion that companies are being more mindful when it comes to laying off a contractor versus a full-time employee, because full-time employees come with the benefits and so many things that company have to look out for. So whenever I see that companies are trying to reduce their operational costs, so many times contracting roles are the first one to go, because there are no strings attached. So that's just my personal opinion. But again, the answer, you need to dig deeper and see what are your priorities and what are your deal breaker items that you need to. Don't just blindly go because contracting pays more or something. There are many pros and cons, job security versus higher pay and all this, that you need to do deeper dive into.
Yeah. And again, like just for everyone who's listening, this is our POV on what we are seeing and what's happening in the industry. At the end of the day, you are the best judge of making the decision in terms of what works for you, how you'd like to network, how you'd like to show up in the job market. Do you want to invest in a resume? Are you feeling comfortable doing that search and updating your resume? A lot of this lies in your hand and your risk appetite. So please don't forget that. Take action. Be hopeful. If there is just one thing you take away from this entire conversation, it should be that there are still a lot of companies hiring. Just last week, Aneri and the people she worked with cracked a lot of job offers around like management consultancies, data analyst, business analyst, finance, program management, EA. So a lot of these roles exist. Tech, the big tech is not hiring maybe, and there are some challenges there. However, there are plenty of tech startups that are hiring right now. It's a great time to explore that area. There are a lot of recession-proof industries like healthcare, food, beverage. A lot of those companies are hiring. So be on the lookout, network smartly, make sure that you are bringing value to whoever you are messaging, and hopefully that gives you something super actionable to talk about. And make sure, I hope this makes you feel confident in everything that's happening in the job market. And Aneri, I missed saying this, but some people want to work with you, and I just got a question saying that how do I work with you? So if you could share where people can find you, that is going to be great.
Yes. So I'm a little behind on responding to Instagram messages, but I have two amazing people joining my team in coming weeks, so we'll be doing a better job. But quick answer to your question is, I have two options right now. One is enrolling in my 12-week program, which is starting in January, where I'll literally be by your side and we'll see it through together. And the another, I'm getting ready to announce it in by tomorrow morning, is the Black Friday offer, where I'm opening some slots for 1 hour consultation, where you can bring whatever questions you may have, and I'll personally help you with your roadmap or your resume review or whatever you need. And I'm announcing it tomorrow, so there will be some slots to work with me immediately. And before we close out, Priya, I have few resources that people can use right away. So those who are on H1B and who were impacted by this layoff and who are looking for another job, h1bdata.info is one site that lists all the employers who have filed all the H1Bs in last 10 years. You can go filter and see what company, filter by your role or your location, and say what are the companies who have filed H1B in past. There is a higher chance that these companies will be okay to transfer your H1B over in compared to any other companies who do not even know what H1B is. So that was one. Same myvisajobs.com is also another website that Priya keeps sharing. So that is also the same. That's the same purpose. Some people ask me, Aneri, I don't even know what companies to look for or what companies are hiring right now. So most people are going to rely on LinkedIn and Indeed and Dice to look for what are the open jobs. I have a workaround or a trick to that. Google INC 5000, Inc 5000. That's an institute. Inc is an institute that publishes list of fastest growing companies in the market right now. So there are 5,000 list of 5,000 companies that are fast growing companies right now. Literally pick them out, Google, and see if they have any openings. That's something I don't think anybody is doing. Everybody is being reactive and looking at what job openings are out there. So that is another. And of course, don't hesitate to ask around in your network. One of my clients actually lost job, my past client, and she just casually mentioned it to a Thanksgiving party that she attended last week and say, hey, I'm in the job market looking for such and such jobs. 3 people actually genuinely referred her, and she has interviews lined up next week. So don't hesitate to ask for help, but make sure you are asking in a right way, like how Priya mentioned.
Yes. No, these are all super helpful, and I will try to link all of this in the section, in the caption section. But you said h1bdata.info, My Visa Jobs, and Google INC 5000, right?
Yeah, just go on Google and look for INC 5000. Go on Angel List and see if there are any new startups who are, or just even simply, today I did it with one of my clients. Simply Google tech startups in Seattle, and you will see list coming up, and those are the companies nobody's looking at probably, and that's where you go and talk to the CEO or the team and say what can you do for them and if there are any openings.
No, this is all super helpful. I know some of you were just asking more questions around the fact that my resume is not getting picked. We have spent a lot of time discussing how to make your resume ready to get picked, and definitely Aneri will have some slots if you want to look for an expert, or there are plenty of resources that you just need to do research around in terms of how to make it ATS ready, how to make it role ready, and either take that effort personally to tailor it so that you show up differently, or hire an expert and work with them and do it differently. So it's the paths that you are able to choose, what works the best for you. But this was super helpful. I hope you all feel a little positive that there is hope. There are people hiring. There are companies hiring. So definitely be on the lookout. Best of luck. I will be linking one more video, which is with an immigration lawyer that talks about the legalities of what you must keep in mind if you are laid off on an H-1B visa. So hopefully that will also be super helpful to everyone. But always consult an immigration lawyer if you're on a visa. Don't try to like scout information on the internet and take action. But super helpful. Aneri, thank you for your time. And everyone who tuned in, thank you so much. We will share this on both our pages so that you have this for reference. But best of luck. Don't lose hope. The situation is not that bad, and internet has a way of just highlighting or blowing up negative things. But stay hopeful, think glass half full, and you're going to be okay. And
Yes,
if not,
thank you. Thank you,
yes.
Priya, for having me. And thank you all 60 of you who joined and who listened to us. Keep the hope alive, and we are going to see this through.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. And if things are not going your way, remember it's okay. Yaar. It's all going to be fine.
Yes,
And I'll
yes.
see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Have a
Priya.
good
Thank you,
evening.
everyone. Bye bye.